Nebula Shaman has been doing quite well even in top legend lately, and the nerfs really didn't affect it much, so in this video I'm gonna give you a quick guide about it, talk about mulligans, win rates, and general tips so you know what to be expecting with, as well as what to expect against this deck. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, you know what to do, but now let's get into it.
You are not prepared!
Here are the stats in top 1000 legend for the last 7 days, and a deck having almost 54% with 1000 games in top legend definitely is not a joke, cause look at this, we actually don't have that much bigger win rates in here, especially with the sample size of this proportion. Here we can see Ferak Rogue actually has a little bit of a better win rate with a lot bigger sample size, and that definitely is playing the meta in top legend especially quite a lot. But yeah, let's talk about what the Shaman is actually up to. Here's the deck up close. And this deck actually does have quite the powerful early game potential as well, thanks to the bumbling bellhops you could be pulling off quite early, and you could buff these guys with the help of either bird watching or flight of the Firehawk, or heck, even with Turbulus, even after you've already put them on the board. We actually did win quite a few games thanks to these idiots, and not so much because of our amazing late game plan, which does involve plenty of things like Nebulas, Farseer Nabundo, Wish Upon a Star, Frosty Decors, Shutterblock, Ziliax, and so on and so forth. We also have Elise in here, and she can be pretty nutty, but yeah, let's talk through all of the cards and explain what you could be doing with them. We do have a couple of Murloc Glowfins, which are pretty decent for your early game. You could also buff the left one with the help of Turbulus when it's after on the board, but the right one with the Rush actually does not have Battle Cry, so if you do play this and then coin Turbulus on turn 2, you're only gonna get +1 on the left Battle Cry one. But if you actually do play Turbulus first and then play Murloc Glowfin, then both of them are gonna be with the buff, because this thing copies the stats of the original one. Pop-Up Book is decent for a little bit of extra protection, a little bit of extra reach, or poke damage. Bird watching is going to help you fish out the important minions in your deck, be it the bumbling bellhop or the Turbulus or things like Elise or Hagatha. And obviously you could be fishing out plenty of other things, but those would be the most important ones usually. With Triangulate you could be pretty flexible. You could be getting yourself extra hexes against things like Starship Death Knights. You could be getting extra Nebulas against greedier, slower decks. You could be getting extra baking sodas against aggressive decks, anything in between, so it's not a one size fits all. In some cases you might just use it to find yourself a spell you really need, not really caring about the extra copies, so you could also look at it as a 2-mana tracking for Shaman. The bumbling bellhop, like I said, could be very amazing if you actually buff it out and tempo it out nice and early, and you could actually even triple it up with the help of Shutterblock, so that can be pretty awesome. And that is also something you could be tripling up with the help of the big Murloc Glowfin. That would also be a pretty valid play, like doing something like a turn 6 Shutterblock into a turn 7 Murloc Glowfin could actually be pretty amazing. Getting yourself all those 8/8s against classes that can't really handle it, like Demon Hunters, like Protoss Priest, that kind of stuff could be huge. The Flight of the Firehawk is a pretty interesting spell in this one because it actually draws you exact minions. It doesn't draw any minion in the deck, but actually minions that have types. So it could be drawing you undead pirates like Bumbling Bellhops, it could be drawing you Murlocs, or your Turbulus, or your Nabundo, which apparently is a Draenei. Ziliax is also in the mix, but don't look for things like Elise or Hagatha, or Shutterblock, or Ceaseless Expanse, because those don't have types. The +2 you get out of this is also pretty nutty, and you would be pretty happy if this thing lands on your Bumbling, or on your Murloc Glowfin, or heck, even on your Ziliax, because that's gonna make it nice and big. So yeah, be smart about how you use this one. Hex is also pretty cool in here. You could be using it in all sorts of different ways, denying the opponent some death rattles. It is especially strong against things like Space Death Knights, or Starship decks in general, so you can be doing this quite nicely. You could also just use it for just a big statted minion, that can also work. The Turbulus, pretty good. It is the Hunter Tourist card, so this is how you actually use cards like Pop-Up, things like Bird Watching, things like the Location, that kind of stuff, so it is definitely very needed in the deck, and also the +1 is actually pretty usable in this one, because you no longer run the card that kills your Battlecry minions after you play them, so there's that too. Baking Soda is a great way for you to heal back to full health, just don't forget this thing overloads you for one, so that could be a downside if you're trying to stabilize into playing your Nebula nice and quick. Elise could be pretty interesting. You could actually use Shutterblock so you can triple up the locations Elise could be giving you, and you could be very flexible about what you look for. With her you could go for 1 mana, you could go for 5, heck you could even go for 10, but usually 1 and 5 is the way to go. and you could be very flexible with what you look for out of her. You could get yourself 5/5 copy out of Alakir, or heck, even a 10/10 copy out of Alakir could be absolutely amazing. So the 10 drop is also a pretty valid option if you are gonna be lasting that long into the game. Definitely don't sleep on a potential 20 damage to the face with Alakir, which would be technically 26 damage to the face. And if you combo it off with the +4 attack the 10 mana location gives, it would be pretty busted. Kagata will be fishing out your Frosty Decors, your Wish Upon a Stars, your Nebulas. That could be pretty nutty. And also you could be getting yourself extra triggers, because this way you do pull off Battlecry minions, and that way with the help of Shutter Block you could still fill the board with a bunch of Nebulas that way, but that's actually a lot less possible with this deck. Like, it doesn't happen way too often, honestly, so don't try to pull it off at all costs. Farseer and Abundo is also pretty interesting. Usually you should be going for a Nebula out of him, but technically you could also load up a Hex in there and keep the opponent at bay. You could also go for Frosty Decors against aggressive decks, Baking Sodas even. Wish Upon a Star could make sense, so definitely be smart about an Abundo. Just keep in mind, once the location's on the board, you're kind of keeping yourself hostage, and the next spell you actually cast while the location is on is the one that the location you're gonna be able to use on from. Frosty Decor is also pretty nice, giving you a couple of taunts that give you armor, and also not a bad way for you to also trigger your Bumbling Bellhops. I think I forgot to say you do have a grand total of 5 big spells in the deck, so your Frosties, your single copy of Wish Upon, and your Nebulas are the way for your Bumbling to become doubled up, so don't sleep on those. And you wouldn't be too sad pulling your Hagata with Frosty Decor that way either. The Shutter Block, you could be tempoing out the first one as soon as you can, not really caring about what you're gonna be tripling up as much, even though with this deck it's actually not that hard pulling it off. But getting yourself the 1 mana triple up is very important, because that way you are gonna have a lot easier time of actually playing it. The same turn you also triple up a Battle Cry, and things you could be tripling up would be things like a big Bumbling Bellhop. At least the Navigator is a very valid option. Hagata usually not so much, even though you could actually triangulate Nebula and then triple up Hagata like that, but it's probably gonna be better off to triple up the minion you pull off out of the Hagata instead. Ziliax is a very valid option to triple up that way as well, because that is gonna fill the board with either buffed Ziliaxes or just even 6/5 Divine Shield Ziliaxes would also be pretty cool. And also a bunch of 8/8s, like I said, could be pretty sick as well. Just be careful not to try to stack this guy. You're not gonna get 6 Battle Cries if you play both the Shutter Blocks one after the other or anything like that. No, it does not stack like that, so try to save the second Shutter Block for once you actually do really want to be tripling up another minion. Don't be an idiot. Wish Upon a Star, also pretty decent. It's mainly in here so you can actually get extra ways to buff Bumbling Bellhop, but in some cases it's actually a pretty valid option too, because if you do something like Nebula and you get the 8 mana Space Rock that just keeps on summoning extra copies of himself, you are gonna end up with a pretty wide board eventually. So getting Wish Upon a Star like that, heck, you could even triple up Wish Upon a Star like that thanks to Hagata plus the 1 mana Shutter Block. That way you're gonna get +6 on all of your idiots, which could be pretty sick. Alakir, a very good option for you to actually even OTK some people if they're not careful. Like I said, you could be getting yourself a big copy with the help of at least the Navigator. You could also get him buffed with the help of Flight of the Firehawk or Bird Watching, or just Wish Upon a Star preemptively. So you could end up having quite a decent sized Alakir from your hand, and that could be pretty cool. The Nebula does have plenty of good options like Ragnaros, like extra Alakir, like the 8/8 Space Rock or the 8/8 Death Rattle that gives you 8 armor, but there's also actually plenty of not so good 8 drops in the mix nowadays as well, like Califero, like Whizbang. So there are quite a few low rolls, but usually you are gonna end up with some pretty nutty stuff. The Ziliax is a nice way to get you nice and healed, and also getting those 6/5 Divine Shields could be pretty good option for you as well. And last but not least, we do have Ceaseless Expanse, which does drop to 0 mana quite fast for you. Not that fast, but it's a nice little card to have in here, and also a great way to activate your Elise, because you do indeed need an extra mana cost in here to actually activate her. I think I forgot to talk about the location. That is actually a pretty good way for you to cheat out stuff a little bit earlier, and you could even stack this thing if you actually do not play any Battlecry minions nice and early. But in most cases you do put it on the board. Next turn you use it to play something, turn after you use it again, so normally you don't really stack it, but you still actually could. Like if you play it on turn 2, don't play a Battlecry on 3, on turn 4 technically you could be dropping a Shutter Block, and on turn 5 you could be following up with a big ass Bumbling Bellhop, which is actually something we did in one of the games, I do believe. For the matchups, here's what the situation looks like. It actually does have quite the big sample size, and Beast Hunter apparently is not a great matchup for you. I myself did find myself having a good time against that. You're not gonna be that great against things like Quest Pally and Aggro Pally apparently too, which doesn't make it an amazing deck in Diamond to Legend because those decks are actually kind of popular, like all three of these are actually kind of popular there. But you are gonna be good against Demon Hunters, Death Knights, and supposedly 50-50 against Rogues too, even though that can be quite the random bullshit fiesta. Quest Warlock is also a little bit on the negative, but everything else 50-50 or pretty good. For the mulligan, here's what it looks like going first. Birdwatching and Haggat are always gonna be pretty good for you. Things like Parrot Sanctuary on curve and Murloc Growfen can also be pretty nutty. Turbulence nowadays is also a pretty valid option because you do have Battlecry minions you want to be sticking on the board. The Flight of the Firehawk also pretty decent. If you're curving into the Elise, that can also be great. Pop-Up Book can also be good, and in some cases even Triangulate might make sense, but usually it's not that great. On the coin it's much of the same stuff, but going second you could also consider things like Hex or Baking Soda. I did keep a Hex against the Protoss Priest and it did end up winning me the game, so there's that. So yeah, all around be smart about what not so always keep cards you could be holding on to. All around the deck is definitely not very cheap, but it's very strong and very interesting to play with. You could be doing some pretty crazy things with this one. I myself did not have a super good result with this because Ferak Rogues were doing a lot of random bullshit fiesta against me, but all around the deck actually does perform pretty well, especially in Top Legend. Hope you enjoyed the guide, and if you did, a like and subscribe would be great, but now let's check out some of my games on my road back to Top 1000 Legend with it. Hope you enjoy. Against the Hunter. Could be Discover. Could be Beast. I doubt it's gonna be buff though.
Let the hunt begin. Come and fight me.
Okay, I like what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what I'm liking. Even Baking Soda was not a bad keep there actually. Baking Soda there could have helped me big time against the potential whiteboard this guy doing too early. Okay, and double Firehawks. That could be cool. Can't complain, OMG. Any good OTK deck in Standards? Dollhouse Druid used to be a good OTK deck in Standards. I'm pretty sure it should be still okay after the nerfs, but it was hard from Diamond to Legend as is. After nerfs, it's gonna be even harder, I'd say. This allows me to go for a turn 4 Shutter Block, by the way. Next turn, if this gives me Bumbling Bellhop, that could be a turn 5 full board of 5/5s. Kinda. Alrighty, let's see what that do. There they go. Bumbling. Bumbling and grinding. We did get the Baking Soda. He is setting up an RC Rampage of his own. No need to use the last location. It's at my disposal whenever I want it. It's not like this guy has location delete. Okay, and there he goes bullshitting again. Okay. That's gonna be a good amount of 5/5s, you know? Any alternative? RC Rampage ain't doing it for me.
What would my brother counsel?
I mean, we are better than his crap, so let's go ahead and do that. Can also do this. Could click this after I've played this. Yeah, let's do this right now. And again, I don't care about clicking that. So for now, that's about it. Make sure nothing too Da Vinci is in my future. We shall see. Okay. He calls my bullshit and raises with his bullshit. Being the bullshitter he is. That's not the worst hex in the world. Could see what's behind door number 2. Could get myself another pair of bumblers. There you have it. There you have it. So, these dudes do the thing. These dudes do the thing. And I can even rush down the other 6-1 after I click. And I'll do that to make the room, as well as fuck him off. Still doing it on that. And still slapping that ass. Neat. Neat chat. Takes a bullshitter to bullshit a bullshitter. Even if he buffs him again, he is quite behind at this point. And I can also buff him. Okay, that allows him to still kill 3 of these shits. So you have locate. Oh shit, well that's mildly annoying. Didn't get any poisonous though, so it was not what he was hoping for. The Divine Shield is the best he had out of the lot. On an attacking minion, that is. Well, Wish Upon a Star is quite nice for me. The Bumblings did the job. We used the Bumblings in a way he never could. I mean, he could. He did it. He used to do it a lot better. Must have been painful seeing the Bumblings on the other side of the foot. Okay, back to the bullshit rogues. Plenty of those out there, apparently. At least should be fine, I guess. She is up there. Yeah, I'll hold on to her, I think. Okay, I like what I see what I like. Turn 2 Turbulus, turn 3 hopefully Bumbling, if we get some big men. We actually don't have that many big spells on the deck, which is kind of interesting, but... There you go. There you go. Hey, look at that, it has a pet. Money wasted. Well, so much for my coin play. Location, perhaps? Nope. I'm not even gonna hero power for the sake of a potential weapon out of him. Was King Plush happy about my good play? Okay. Kinda weird Xavius is not in this deck too. I guess we don't have enough room for 4 drops or some. Perfect top kick. Oops.
This treasure ain't fit for our planet. Mysterious orb, what is your wisdom?
I think I'd just go for Elise here, perhaps. Freezing Trap is there, yeah. I really don't feel like coining. Maybe I do. Okay.
My patience has reached its limit.
It wasn't Freezing Trap, but really wasn't worth it to risk it. I was expecting there not to be a Freezing Trap, but it really wasn't worth it.
Now this is treasure.
And bullshit go. Has an explosive trap. Well, baking soda feels awfully good right about now. Shadow slaps that though, so not so hot now.
I remember this place well.
So going for rushers ought to do it. +2 attack is also kind of tempting. Summoning a 5/5 copy is probably the way to go here though, because we could use it nicely with Nebula. And let's just get this extra damage out of the way. And if I got time for that. All those random fire spells could be very painful for me.
Too soon.
Fascinating. Okay. If I go with baking soda, that will overload me for next turn, but for next turn it's not a big deal. Right now there's a grand total of, as soon as I trigger explosive trap, this thing is gonna be 4, 8, it's gonna be 1 off to kill everything. I'm still gonna do it though. Let's go like this. Baking bullshit. And also summon a couple of 4/4s. Okay, that was the statistically correct outcome. We can play that game. Fuck. A lot of damaging spells in there, huh?
Rock number 802, welcome to the collection.
If I use this, that does fill the boards. Could summon a copy of a totem. I'm one random bullshit away from getting killed here, though. Because Ferak could fuck me over.
What would my brother counsel?
I'm gonna go with this, but I'm not happy about it.
Patience has reached its limit.
This allows him to Ferak hero power.
All are nourished when the cycle renews.
Sides against it.
Mysterious.
Okay, he's trying to play it safe. Double mage secrets, you say? Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next turn I can go with 9 mana Fairy Tale, use the location to summon myself a potential 5 copy of Valakir or some. Really feel like this guy should have jumped the gun and just go ham with Ferak hero power kind of play there.
Remember this place
Odds of him killing me were quite high.
Peanut butter oil everywhere.
Interesting. This thing has charge? Fuck me, man. Could also just straight up use this. But no, we might need a little bit of defensive stuff here. Shutter block missing in action. Toward Tyrant kind of makes sense too. But I'll go for a Raggy Boy. There's a first pick at least. There you have it. Alrighty. Don't have room for all of our crap, which is kind of sucky, but it is what it is. I'd actually go like this. Really don't wanna get butt fucked here, you know? Okay, the Raggedy Boy with the slapper. I think that was the best we could have done there. Okay, random bullshit goes again. Not the worst. So far so good. Amazing targeting. If that hero power slaps me on the mouth, I call rigged. 20% chance so far. Seems like he's feeling lucky. Close. Closer. Amazing. 33. This time for real. That was the skill test apparently, guys. That was the skill test. Gotta push that random bullshit to its limit now, don't it? Even if we lived there, we were looking pretty shaky, but damn, was that disgusting. Yeah, Iraq Rogue is plaguing the meta, isn't it? Iraq Rogue is taking a big fat pile of shit over the meta right now. Thanks for that, Hearthstone. Those nerfs really fixed everything, didn't they? Should have nerfed the Scoundrel. If only there were streamers that were streaming that at him, you know? If only, guys, if only. But let's pretend there weren't. Let's just pretend for a hot second there weren't anybody screaming that at them. They couldn't know. I'm actually gonna hold on to this sex. Good old sexicle. Now it's gonna be Roguestone. Enjoy, guys. Read him and weep. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm not gonna pop up just yet. If he does play the 2-2, I will straight up hex it here. Don't believe me, just watch. Did it? If you think I ain't hexing that, I'm hexing that, fam. That ain't a hex, I don't know what is. That was feeling very hexual. Okay, got myself some big men. They're gonna be even bigger. Can't say no to those. And let me actually clap this guy's cheeks a couple of times. Show him we mean it. Okay, turn after the bumbling bullshitter should be great. Turn after maybe some of that shutter block action. Couple of 6/5s on turn 5. Kinda cool. That's a big ass 4/8. Getting even bigger. Yeah, do be like that, don't it? Say this guy's still better. Next turn I might go for Shutter Block. Turn after, trip up at least for some. He's probably gonna be ignoring these frogs, so if that happens I could still consider at least for 1 mana, but I don't know, I'd probably be better off with a little bit more value. It's mildly annoying. This could give me a couple of more bumbling. Thing about the Flight of the Firehawk, it's never gonna draw you a Haggard because it only draws types. Which is kinda cool. This would be way too slow, man. Let me try and get myself another pair of bumbling. Okay. That went so well. This time they're even bigger, better, man. Wow, what the fuck? I was not expecting that, I don't know. I was really not expecting him to fold on that. It's kinda weird. Okay, a new class entered. Wonder if it's still Dollhouse Bullshitter. Let's find out. Let's find out. Fight me, bitch. Let's just hold on to the Murloc. Even he's not that amazing, but it's better than just passing on one. Okay, so far so bad. On turn 2 we might triangulate for some bird watching, or Flight of the Firehawk actually is also pretty lit. This guy could have been Imbue, but it strikes me as Dollhouse again. Okay, can't say no to Firehawk. Try and curve off nice and quick. We don't have a big spell for the Bumblers, but let's see. The Bumbloids. Could get Turbulus at least, we'll see. Agatha, pretty nice. But this makes my bumbling bellhops even harder to pull off if I do that. Let's just pretend we're gonna top deck a big ass spell next turn. We do have 5 of those. Frosty, Wish, and Nebula, so that's a grand total of 5 indeed. Let's see how that go. If I do play a Haggard, that slashes my chances almost in half. Could just do this for now and feel okay about it. Murloc Glowfen would be an okay thing to play. I'll do that. I'll just pop his mouth. Okay, there's that big spell we were hoping for. I would say I'm gonna go with Turbo as this turn, and next turn just double bumble him. See how he likes them apples. Alternatively, I could just play Nabundo. These will be 6/6s if I go with this, so I'd rather just do this. Alrighty, man. Are you prepared mentally and physically? Okay, that's fascinating. See how he likes them apples, Chief.
I never make two tracks. I never make two tracks.
Tempo Shaman, go!
Never make two tracks.
Do you have what it takes? He does have +1. 1/1 copy of a friendly right now, don't do that much for him. Let's see it, Chief. Are you gonna bend over? Doesn't bend over just yet. Top decking the 7 mana Wish Upon a Star would be great. If we don't, we're just gonna pull it off manually. Hopefully. At least it's cute and all, but I'm still on the Hagata train here. See a Nebula. Double Nebula. Well, not ideal, not the worst. Not great in this matchup, I'd say. Can you handle that? I mean, I don't know if you're trying to rage bait me or anything like that. We don't mind Macedonians. I think they have much bigger problem with us than we have with them. Everybody's whatever they feel, man. Everybody is whatever they say they are. I don't mind. But yeah, there's a notion like that going around that... Huh?
A natural mistake.
Apologies, my good bitch. What was that supposed to be? What? What was that step, bro? You sure about that? Are you sure? That's 2 off lethal as it stands. And I can find lethal from Elise. Since we did not get the Wish Upon a Star, we're gonna have to Wish Upon Elise.
I remember this place well.
Wish Upon Elise, me dude. There you have it. There you have it. Wish Upon Elise it is. Yeah, well, that was pretty nutty now, wasn't it? I don't know what this guy was on about with that play there, but that was kinda dumb. That was kinda sad.